Hello Magic the Gathering players, this is Maelstrom MTG back again with some Budget Modern. I'm here in Quebec and I arrived a few days ago, so I'm finally trying to see if I can do videos. I know I said I probably wouldn't be able to for the summer, but this is like my week, or maybe next week as well, where I'm in quarantine and I have the opportunity to actually make these videos, to record these videos. So if they work well, let me know. If they don't, like if something's terribly wrong, let me know below. Nicely, put it to me in soft words. But I've been playing some Magic and it's fun with Modern Horizons 2. So I decided I would take my idea of making budget content with my idea of making Horizons 2 content. The problem is that there's only so much budget content that I can make before I just have to make other content. Because there will be a good budget deck that comes around every once in a while, but I want to make sure that I'm still giving you quality decks, which is why I had to switch from posting every day to posting once a week. So I might post less frequently, more frequently, but it's going to be not only budget content from here on, but when I think of a good budget deck, I will definitely send it your way. Now, we're going to start off this this Canada recording session with, or recording series with Obosh Prowess. And Obosh Prowess, I made a video on it a few months ago, but this is really cool. It's really fun. Dragon's Rage Channeler is the new card in the deck, which is a 1-drop 1/1 whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Surveil of 1. Delirium, as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Dragon's Rage Channeler gets +2/+2, flying, and attacks each combat if able. And that is very powerful. I know that Delver of Secrets gets a lot of hate because it's super easily killed, and it's very on and off. Dragon's Rage Channeler is a much better card in that it can enter as a 3/3, and if they bounce it to our hand, we can just replay it, and it's immediately that 3/3 again. But it also gets the whenever you cast non-creature Surveil. And so it's a lot better in that in order for it to get its powerful side, that you just need stuff in the graveyard rather than the top of your deck. So it's a lot more consistent. That being said, I still have a Delver deck that I want to record. It's not budget, but it looks really sweet. I've played it. It's awesome. And so Delver of Secrets still does have potential, but this is where Dragon's Rage Channeler gets more hype. Bomat Courier is our way of discarding our of drawing more cards in the late game. It's a great turn 1/2 drop. Just swing in and then be able to just get our hand refilled mid to late game, and we are going to just get that little point of leverage on our opponent. But the big thing that Bomat Courier has going for it is that it's an artifact and a creature. Now, a lot of people are going to say, oh, this deck would, like, I know a lot of people say, oh, this deck would be good if it had this and this and this, and then maybe you're getting somewhere. But that's not what this channel is, or that's not what these videos are. I know you might think that the deck is going to be better if I have these expensive cards in here, but these decks go against competitive tier 1 decks and do extremely well. For example, this deck is 19-1 in best of 3, which is why, even though it's a little over $100, I'm still recording this video as the deck is. I'm not trying to change anything to it. It was under $100 when they made the deck, and a few dollars should not make a difference to you. So, quick note though, while I'm talking about this, Blood Moon does not make this deck better. I have looked into it, I've played the deck, and Blood Moon is just not that great here. Same with Seasoned Pyromancer. Both amazing cards, but if we wanted to run those, we would have to change a lot of the deck, and we are heavily reliant on our 1-drops, so we can quite often keep those 1-land hands because we just quite often don't need any more. You can go 2 or 3 lands is probably going to be your average game, but I kept a hefty number of 1-landers with this deck. So Bomat Courier adds artifact and creature towards Dragon Age Channeler's ability for Delirium. So that's 2 types just there, and then whatever you discard out of your hand, if there's anything, you can also do that. I actually had a game where I went turn 1 DRC, turn 2 DRC, DRC, and then turn 3 intentionally missed my land drop so that I could discard with Bomat Courier, and with the land, sorcery, artifact, creature all in my graveyard, I had 9 power on the board, and that was all flying. So that was very powerful, and you can have some really nutty games. Next up is Monastery Swiftspear as a typical red aggro or prowess package card. Same with Soul Scar Mage. I don't know why I said that so weirdly, but Soul Scar Mage. And something about this card which people may or may not know, it's something that when I had originally played this deck, I didn't really pay a ton of attention to. But let's say you're buffing your creature by casting a burn spell, right? If you cast Lava Dart, let's say your opponent has a 3/3 and you have Soul Scar Mage and you swing in. They block your Soul Scar Mage and you Lava Dart. It lowers their power as well. And like, I know that's obvious, but it's something that it's just a moment of realization, or you just have to be told, or you just have to see it in play of, oh yeah, that's a thing. And so if you saw it immediately, great. If you didn't, it's here. So in that scenario, you turn their creature into a 2/2, and your Soul Scar becomes a 2/3. And so that just right off the bat makes it just one spell that's just 1 damage. Not only makes their creature die, but keeps yours alive. And so that's very powerful. Bone Crusher Giants were likely the clunkiest creature in the deck, just because it's more of a, I don't know, it felt more like you're trying to get value out of it being a double card, and it's a very good card, and it did its work when it needed to, but most of the time it didn't need to. So this could probably be a flex spot. You could probably go down to 2 of these, but I do like the 4 ofs all down the board. It's very consistent. I love it. Bone Crusher Giant, though, in Modern, still very good card. It's just, here, it was on and off. You always had something to target with it, but you just didn't necessarily hit the 3rd land for it, which is a big reason why we don't want to run things like, Blood Moon or Pyromancer. Is we might not hit that 3rd land in games. We might end it before then. But that being said, we do manage to hit Obosh periodically. Then we have Firebolt for removal / damage. We have Flame Slash for damage. We have Love Dart for damage / removal. Just a lot of damage burn spells, and they double up as removal, or they're a win condition. And so there's not really much behind this. I'd say the 2 that deserve the most attention are Flame Slash and Tarfire. Mostly because Flame Slash is able, though its sorcery speed, is able to hit the big things in the format, like the Titan decks that are rampaging around. I've seen a lot of Titan decks, but you can deal 4 damage to their Dryads, and that puts a big stop on their game. It's not everything, but it is something. And then Tarfire is a tribal instant. Now, there are subtypes of the cards in your graveyard. For example, legendary creature or basic land is just going to be a land or just going to be a creature. But tribal instant still counts towards Delirium for DRC. And so having that is going to be a sneaky way of getting additional types in your graveyard. We have Light Up the Stage to hit more things. And then Forgotten Cave to cycle our lands to get them into our graveyard, and Mountains because it's a red deck. But also, you don't want to get too fancy with this type of list. If you wanted to add in, if you wanted to make it not budget, I don't know how much I would even suggest changing the mana base. The Forgotten Caves, they were amazing, and if I had multiple, I could use them in the same turn, or I could cycle this and play a different land drop, which is something that you can't do with like Fiery Islet or Sunbaked Canyon. It's just, those lands essentially take 2 mana to cycle, where this takes 1, and you can only do it once per turn, where this, you can cycle as many that are in your hand. I know it enters tapped, but that rarely mattered. It only mattered in like 1 game out of 44 that I played. So I don't think I would even necessarily add fetch lands, because you just don't want to, you don't want to sacrifice that life in this metagame. It's just so fast, there's so much damage, and filtering your deck or thinning your deck has very little effect with how, like, it really has minimum effect, but if you're trying to do shenanigans with Mishra's Bauble, then you can play them. But it's a mono red deck, there's really no reason to run fetch lands here. The sideboard, though, has Tormod's Crypt, which is the only even cost in the entire list, and that's just because I couldn't afford relics or anything like this in here with the budget. But Tormod's Crypts were just fine when I needed them to come in. I sacrificed having Obosh in the main when I needed Tormods, and Tormods was something that went into the graveyard and helped Dragon's Rage Channeler. I do not like Relic Progenitus because Relic exiles our graveyard as well. Shattering Spree is our artifact destruction, but also Ingot Chewers are artifact destruction, just because, well, there are a few reasons. One is that we need our budget, but also Ingot Chewer adds to our creatures in our graveyard, and so we can evoke it for 1 mana to do spot removal, or we can do Shattering Spree for multiple targets. But Ingot Chewer sometimes I even brought in as a as just a creature that I needed because my opponent was playing Chalice. Then we have Fiery Cannonade as a way to deal with just go wide decks, because when we would cast this, our our Bone Crusher Giant would live, our Soulscar Mage would live because of Prowess, Swiftspear would live because of Prowess, Chandler hopefully lives because of Delirium, and Bowmat Courier just dies, there's nothing you can do. But Fiery Cannonade is a great card, and if anyone tells me to play the Eldrazi one or Anger of the Gods does 3 damage, so it would kill all of our creatures, and I think it's Kozilek's Return. The difference between these 2 cards is that this doesn't hit pirates, and that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. This hits actually just everything in the format. So if you tell me to run something over this, I'm going to tell you no. This is $1 for the playset. Tarfires, you can bring these in if you need more removal, but also adds more to the DRC plan. But what I did quite often was I went down 2 Light Up the Stages, brought in 2 Tarfires, just because Light Up the Stage is a great card, but if you need an answer now, it's better to just have more damaging spells in your deck. Light Up the Stage is a card I had in there and quite often took out game 2 or 3 just because I knew what I needed to bring in. And so Light Up the Stage is a very good value card, but the other cards can replace it in game 2 or 3 just because that at that point you actually know what you're going up against. Anyway, that is the list. It's very sweet. I went 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-1. The only deck I lost against was Demon Tribal. It was a very weird deck, and so I wasn't really prepared for a deck like that because I was planning towards things like, I don't know, other Prowess decks, Burn, Hammer Time because Urza's Saga is strong, Titan, all that kind of stuff. And so I wasn't really expecting Demon Tribal, but that being said, the deck did phenomenal. And I'm really impressed with how it did. So I hope you all enjoy it. I hope that the recording works well, because if I can get some gameplay, I am doing nothing basically all day here for the next week and a half. So hopefully I can get videos going. Anyway, have a nice day, everyone, and you're awesome.